And we are live. I'm here with Bryan Lacey to talk about Oktagon. Bryan, it's been so long since I've spoken to you. How you been?
I've been all right, Katie, and let's not pretend that you haven't just charged through the front door, slapped your headset on, and turned this on. You're playing it all cool. That's a wonderful host. That's professional. But it's like that the analogy of the duck swimming, like it's calm on
Yeah.
top, but those legs have been going full pelt. But yeah, nice to see you. It's been a long time.
Really nice to see you, and what a great card we've got to talk about as well. Really excited for this one. I think all of the Oktagon shows are incredible and you get such great talent, but this one's got some really, really good English talent on the card, or UK talent on the card, as well as the Tip Sport main event, and some of the best European ladies as well. So
Without a doubt.
yeah, it's gonna be good to talk about. Where would you like to start? Should we start at the main event?
We can start. Let's start with the English boys. Come on, let's get them
Okay.
rolling because I feel like it's a big card for them. And again, there's so many big things happening with Octagon this year. Whether you talk about the second season of the Tip Sport Game Changer, Germany has already sold 58,000 tickets for October 12th. All this type of stuff. There's big fights, big signings, but this card feels kind of special, and I feel like the fact we've got four English guys going up against real top talent with
Yeah.
ramifications of potential titles on the horizon for some of these guys. I feel like it's a big stage, and 13,000 people, and it's sold out. I know there's four tickets left. Four
Unbelievable.
tickets
4
left.
tickets
That's
next to
it.
each other.
That's it. They are actually. It was a weird thing because George Staines, his sponsor, has taken some bigger tickets to go and be near the cage side to witness him make his walk against Jakub Takota. But so they gave four back. So this morning, the Octagon people were like, "We've got four tickets left," and they'll have gone by now. But it was very funny that there's just four left in the entire arena.
It is amazing. We've talked about the atmosphere in some of these arenas before. This one's in the Czech Republic. Like when you see, I've only seen videos of it. I can't imagine what it's like for you to be in there. Like it's just up there with a UFC event, isn't it? Like, well, more. It holds more than a UFC event.
Some UFC events, yeah, but I feel it's kind of different just with the type of fans they are. If you watch the UFC, and we are geeks, we watch every card, we watch the Fight Pass prelims all the way through to the main card. We'll watch any promotion in any country just to get our fix of pure beautiful violence. But you
Mm.
look at the UFC cards, and they start at empty arenas. You
Yeah,
go
they
out
do.
there and they walk
Always.
out, and even some great fights and young talent and even local talent doesn't get. Whereas these cards, you talk to Callum Mullen, you talk to Aaron Abbey, you talk to, in fact, he'll be hopefully having his first fight abroad soon. But you talk to these other guys that have fought out there and made the walk. One of the first things they say, especially if they're on the early part of the card, is the atmosphere and the fans are there from the start. And I feel that's a bit of the difference. It's more real fight fans staying there for the whole event. It's like it's so hard to describe to people, and it's one of those things where I want people like you to come and
I
feel
do
it.
want to
I
be there.
feel
That
like
is on my bucket list.
I feel like you and your fellow, they'll be getting pissed off at me because he already has to follow you around the country now, around the world. But there's good times. Prague's a wicked city. Germany is just beautiful, and so Slovakia. So we have to get couples out there at some point.
100%, 100%. Let's crack on then with the fight card. If you want to start with the Brits, shall we start with Scott Askham?
Yes, start with Scott Askham. My God. So he debuted for Octagon, and again, coming off the back of one of those careers where you come out of the UFC, some people kind of wonder what they're going to do. And he just made a home for himself in KSW, fought the
Didn't he
best of the
just?
best, was embraced by the Polish fans. The Scott Askham Barmy Army, all in their gear, were out there. They're a feature of any fight card. And then I know that there was a lot of injuries coming off the back of that fight schedule, and just because of the wear and tear, the amount of fights he's had.
Yeah.
He came back against Mark Ducis in Manchester, Octagon 48, and it was a brilliant performance against a very dangerous opponent. And for me, it felt like maybe it wasn't the performance which everybody kind of went, "Oh, this could be the next title challenger," or this. this is a world beater or whatever else. But for me, I just saw that he was more confident in his body. And I feel like he has the potential, especially going up against Makhmuradov, who is a massive name in the Czech Republic. Uzbekistan, but most of his fights before he got in the UFC were in the Czech Republic. He is at one of the most notorious gyms out there. He's a big personality. First fight off the back of the UFC. And I think it's a dangerous fight for Muradov because Askham can beat anyone, I feel like. And now his body's kind of healed to where he can fight the way he wants to fight. I think he's right up there. Win here, and again, the title's going to be fought between Engizek and Kinsel in Germany. But this victory or this opponent, and if Askham puts on a vintage Askham performance, that's him next for me, straight in front of everybody. And I'm excited. I'm excited for his fans to be out there. I'm excited to see him have a big arena and feel what the Czech fans are like, and for them to get a taste of him. And but it's a tough test. It's a tough one, but I love it. I love the fact he's back and, from what I understand, healthy again, which is dangerous for any middleweight.
This is such a huge European fight, isn't it? Because you mentioned like Scott's European fan base from KSW, and you mentioned Muradov is going to be the home kind of favorite, and he's got the home crowd with him. It's I can't imagine what that atmosphere is going to be like for that fight.
It'll be insane, and this is the co-main event. So you've got two Tip Sport Game Changer semi-finals, but this is between them. That's how big this fight is, and I couldn't be happier for Scott. I know he was supposed to fight before, and his opponent came out, so he's had an elongated hiatus from getting back in the cage. But I'm also excited for Muradov. This is him returning to the country that helped make him who he is. And he does come from one of the most notorious gyms. He comes from the Monster Gym in Prague, which has got, Carlos Vermola trains there. And there's a great video that's gone up on our socials where Carlos first started training with Muradov. And he's a guy who's fought, all the way through from, UFC, Oktagon champion at middleweight, now light heavyweight, biggest star in the Czech Republic, basically the Conor McGregor of the Czech Republic. And he's talking about going home after rounds with Muradov and like laying in bed and not being able to forget how this bloke manhandled him. And for me, that says a lot because Carlos Vermola is the bull. He is the bully of the middleweight and the light heavyweight division. And now to hear that Muradov used to just handle him, it's kind of like, it excites me. It excites me. It's one hell of a fight.
What a great matchup. Two UFC vets. It's going to be, it's what a build up to the main event as well. This whole card is just on fire, but that fight in particular has got me really, really excited for this card.
You've got 26-8 Muradov and 20-6 with Askham. There's so much experience. They're both so technically good. It's a great fight. It's such a good fight. And I feel whoever wins this will be next. That
high risk, high reward.
Yeah,
exactly. What you love to see.
Totally.
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's move on because we've got so much to cover in such a short amount of time.
I know.
Corey Fry. Aaron said keep an eye out for Corey Fry. I mean, so all of his amateur fights, which is when I first came to know him, were on UKFC. Fought some great people there. He's 5-2 as a pro. He lost by rear naked choke in his last fight against Max Holzer. He's fighting Vladimir. You're going to have to help me with
Lengal. It's easy. This
it's
one,
easy.
Lengal. It's easy. Just Lengal.
I could have gone for it. Who's got that massive pro boxing background, right?
Yeah, so he's a national and European champion in boxing, national and European champion in karate as well. He was 2022 Fighter of the Year. That was voted by the fans. He had 12 fights in, I think it was 12 months, which was across boxing, kickboxing, and mixed martial arts. He's very exciting. He's a big personality. This is one of the fights, again, for people, because people might not know Corey Fry, people might not know Lengal, but I guarantee you after this one, there will be a highlight reel of one of them going around, and it has everything of the making of Fight of the Night. For me, Corey Fry, I learned a lot about him in Cologne. He fought in front of 20,000 people against a guy called Denis Ilbai, El Pistolero, a guy who had destroyed most of his opponents. He also had a big boxing background. He was WBA champion, fought around the world, fought in MGM Grand, places like that. And he was born in Cologne. He was born 5 minutes from that arena. So Corey Fry walked out into enemy territory, and it was 20,000 fans for Ilbai. And I worried because, again, I called a lot of Corey Fry's fights, and it's UKFC, and I loved that promotion. One of the best promotions, best run, the best matchups across, amateur and the early stages of pro careers. But you don't get the fan size of that, and he just soaked it up. There was just, as soon as I walked out, as soon as I walked out, I relaxed, because I thought, oh, this hasn't broken him, this is making him. And he put on a performance where he got the armbar finish over Denis Ilbai in an enemy territory. So that, for me, I learned a lot about him. So now I know he's not scared of the crowd. And this is a fight, like Max Holzer is a renowned jiu-jitsu guy. That's what he does. And that has always been Corey Fry's sort of, he's getting better, much better. Look at the people around him. But that has always been the area where you think, if you could just up it a couple more notches, then you're at that world-class level. But you're not going to have that issue with Lengal. Lengal isn't going to look for the takedown. He's not coming for the takedown. He's not looking to get you in a twister or to, smash you against the cage or anything like that. He comes to fight. And I feel like Corey Fry will have the length and the range, and it's whoever touches first in this one. So yeah, that's for me. It's sneaked under. There's so many big fights, but that for me, I feel like it will steal the show on fight night.
Aaron's got another question for you. Said each promotion has their own brother fighters. Could Oktagon have the Fry brothers one day?
Why not? Little Zach Fry, I say little, he's fucking smashed me up. He got a victory on UKFC at the weekend. I saw that. Congratulations to him. Why not? They're both so good, and I feel like there's something with brothers. I talk about it a lot with other commentators. When you see people coming up the ranks with a sibling, it's different. You can push different buttons. You can push them further. They've been fighting for, as long as they were side by side in whether it was the womb or in the cot or whatever else. So I'm all for it. I am all for it. They're both very exciting, and I feel like, they're just great together as well. Seeing them come up together and the personalities they've got and how they've gone on this journey, I love it.
You can't really get more inspiring neither than I imagine being siblings with someone who's going out and, whether they're getting booed or cheered, like that size of crowd.
But you're with them. It's like there's nobody that's got your back more than that person. And I feel like they've got a really good dynamic. And I feel like, you see that they help each other. They definitely help each other. Very different fight styles. But why not? Why not, Aaron? Go on then. We'll do it. We'll sign it now.
And let's talk about Jack Cartwright next. So Jack, I mean, he's had an amazing career, but he's had a difficult time in his last couple of fights. He obviously vacated the Cage Warriors belt to fight on Contenders. Was really unfortunate that one didn't go his way. And then his first fight in Oktagon, you give him Jonas Magar.
No, he had one before that. He fought.
He did. I'm sorry.
Bruno Assis. That's all right. Again, it was a late replacement, but Jack Cartwright, I remember calling one of his fights. It was years ago in Manchester on promotion called Tanko, and Sol Rogers was with him and been with him for however long. And I remember Carl Prince saying to me, "This kid is different. Like he's very, you look at his appearance, kind of looks kind of not scrawny. Is not the right adjective, but you know what I mean. He's got the little tail, and then he's just got something in his hands, and you see the way he fights. He brings it. His chin's up the whole time. He's not there for a boring fight. He is never, ever in dull fights. And I know he was frustrated with the Jonas fight. Jonas, that was the best we've seen him, against one of the most dangerous guys. His hands were great. His game plan was fantastic. But don't let that fool you that is Jack Cartwright done. Jack Cartwright has shaken that off. And I know that this matchup against Sanakidze, who is from Georgia, former featherweight title holder, fought at bantamweight, had a very disappointing debut at bantamweight. I got absolutely smothered by Nezand. But Cartwright's not going to lay and pray. Cartwright is going to look for the finish, whether it's in a submission or a knockout. Sanakidze is exciting as well. He's got multiple finishes. But I feel like if you are foolish enough to look at the Magard fight and not recognize how good Magard is, and then also, you know, maybe Cartwright wasn't dialed in as much as he can be on fight night, he is one of the most exciting fighters in Europe, and that one loss doesn't take it away. And he is still one of the most dangerous fighters in Europe. And stupid finish rate. I think what's he got? He's got a crazy amount of finishes on his record. 9 of his 11
dynamite
wins.
in his hands. He's absolutely insane. That one night tournament at Cage Warriors where he just like just
he would do that every weekend though. Like if you would say you're going to fight, you know, we're going to get you towards the belt, but you got to have all 3 fights on one. He would love that. I think everything else around it, he doesn't enjoy as much. I think he puts himself through the grind. He's got great discipline. He's got fantastic people around him. I love that Wayfarer gym up in Manchester as well. I think it's what him, Abdul, all the people up there are building is not just facilities wise great, but you know, mindset, ethics, discipline, skill set. I think it's fantastic. So and again, this is a good test. Like coming in, and it's Sanakidze, former bantamweight champion, the only one who holds a win over Keita. And if you're looking at any way of getting yourself back in that conversation, and potentially back to a rematch with Jonas, which I know he would snap your hand off at any point.
Sure.
Then that's the fight.
Yeah, no, he wanted that fight so much, and I'm sure he's got a massive point to prove in this one to get him back to that. And again, just another one where you don't want to turn away for a second.
It's a Cartwright fight. You cannot blink. You cannot blink. It's one of those fights where it's, you know, even if he is getting smothered or whatever else, it only takes him 1 second to connect or set up a submission. His submission game is so frigging good.
It's an exciting one, and I really do think he'll have a point to prove, and that's going to make him so dangerous. But again, like you said, it's a really dangerous matchup, and there's so much jeopardy. It's what makes it so exciting.
And both these guys though, they want to get to Jonas. That Jonas won his last fight, and if he signs with Oktagon again, which is, you know, he's still a free agent, so you know, if he comes back, he has to be next for the title. Sanakidze hates Jonas. There's been some awful back and forth between those two, and Cartwright, he's not here to make numbers up. He wants to, you know, make an impact and become champion. So I think it's going to be 100 miles an hour, this fight.
Love it. Miles Painter wants to say an OG of MMA UK returns.
What's up, Miles? How are you, my man? Keep doing what you're doing. I love it. Absolutely.
And the voice of UK MMA.
I don't think we'll go that far. I think he's talking about you there. I think he's talking about you, Coppers.
So let's move on. George Staines. I was looking at his record before we jumped on this. I can't believe it says he's 2-0. I feel like I've known about George for such a long time. Even his amateur record isn't long either. I feel like maybe it was just the fights he's been in have really just elevated him. Obviously, he beat Dennis Frimpong for the Challenge Championship, which was, you know, enough to get everybody talking about you. But talk to me about this fight against Jakub
Tikota.
Thank you.
There you go. It's great. Both IMMAF alumni. They're both done extremely well out there. I think Tikota has got a bronze medal, I believe, in Europe. And then you look at George Staines, gold medal in Europe, bronze medal in the worlds as far as And again, his mindset is so good. Both these guys, they are such nice guys. Like it's one of those things where people, when you say you work in mixed martial arts, you work with fighters, I just want to sit these two at a table and go, this is what they're really like. This is it. You know, completely fully formed, really balanced young men, fantastic athletes, dedicated on a path, a journey, understand what they want to do in this world. And the way they do it, both of them, Tikota comes out of Reinders MMA, which is the biggest gym in the Czech Republic. Big names come out of there. Lucia Pudilova trained there for a long time. And it's renowned. It's absolutely renowned. And he is one of the you know, the stalwarts of that team. He's not just a guy that turns up on the mat and trains. He is a coach for the kids. He's one of the biggest helpers there. He's had a fantastic career already in Oktagon, 5-2, I think his record, but he's fought for the featherweight title against Mate Sanakidze, took him to a decision, and then fought Lozen Keita on 2 weeks' notice, and went 4 rounds with him. And one of the punches broke his collarbone in the first round. He went 4 rounds with Keita with basically one arm. And, you know, I'd speak to him a lot outside the cage. He's a fantastic human being, like so humble and dedicated to this journey, but wants to take risks. And he stepped up in weight to take on Staines. And Staines for me was, you know, Frimpong definitely had the sound bites out of the challenge thing, but the star of the show was George Staines. He was, you know, everybody was aware of his skill. You'd speak to the coaches when they trained with him for the first time, and they'd just talk about how good he was, his mind for it. And then you take him out of fighting and you just sit and talk to him about Lego, or you put Mario Kart on, and this kid arrives with this infectious energy and this, you know, wonderful smile and just great energy. And he's done great things at amateur. He's now 2-0 as a pro, but that doesn't count the fights in the house. He won 2 fights under pro rules, exhibition rules, but for the challenge. Now training at Next Generation. And if you want a testament to how well he's doing there, in Paddy's last fight, when they were talking about how good that performance was, he name checked a couple of people and he said, this guy George Staines has come and joined our gym, and they get a lot of rounds in together. And that for me, you know, iron sharpens iron, people on that trajectory, that energy. And he's moved now. So he's very much a home kid, born and bred in Hull, very proud of his home city. But now he spends, I think, 5 days a week over in Liverpool, living over there, training as a full-time pro athlete. And the sky's the limit here. This for me is a big test for him, because Takota has proven he's fought him for titles. He's in front of a home crowd. It's a gamble from me on Takota's side. But if George does what he's done to everybody so far, to Siganik, to Frimpong, to everybody he's faced in the cage, then it's, you know, the next step up will be, I think, a leap into that top 15, the top 10, because I can't see anybody else challenging him around it. Takota will put him to the test. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. He's phenomenal conditioning, very good fight IQ. But if Staines pulls off another perfect performance, then it's
the confidence to even take this fight, you know, given the difference in their pro experience, and, you know, not just the number of fights, but like you said, challenging for titles and stuff. It's,
but
I mean, he really believes in himself, doesn't he?
He said he said, if I don't take a fight like this, what am I doing? That's a direct quote from Staines. He's like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? And he said he did it at amateur. He always took on tough tests because you want to be the best. And he said something very wise. And again, it's one of these things when you sat and he's talking about Lego or playing Mario Kart, whatever, you might underestimate him. But he was like, it will be detrimental to me now if I have easy fights. He said, you can look around the UK European scene and there's lots of fighters with good records, but when you dig down, they're not the greatest opponents. You know, they've taken fights which are very favorable or build that record. He said it, you know, in an interview that I listened to, where he was just like, it will be detrimental to me if I don't have the hard fights now. And that's wise beyond his years. It's dangerous because we're not playing chess or Mario Kart here, but I love that mentality.
I love it too. I always say records are for DJs, and when I think of my favourite fighters of all time, I know they've all lost. Can you remember the record? You probably can. You're an encyclopedia. I can't remember the records of, you know, even Max Holloway, or, you know, like, I don't know what his record is. Who cares? Justin Gaethje, I don't know. Like,
no, it's those fights and the ones that get you excited as a fan, but also that you talk about those fighters. They need something to motivate them to put in the miles, to make those sacrifices, and to be scared. Like the worst thing in the world is going to sleep and thinking, oh wow, I'm going to fight that guy and I haven't trained today and he's probably, or whatever else, you know, that side that we don't see of fighters, where we just see the amazing events and then walking out, whatever else. But the reality is, especially when you got a lot of experience, that you need motivation. And if getting motivated is being scared shitless, then take it and use it to make yourself better.
100%. There can't be any stronger motivation, I don't
That's
think.
right, isn't it?
I wanted to quickly touch on the ladies' fight before we get to the main event. Lucy Pudilova, again, like she's an Octagon legend, UFC vet, and she's fighting Cecilia Belanda, which on paper looks like a big experience discrepancy. Cecile, I've known about for a long time. IMMAF Queen. She fought on Cage Warriors Academy Southeast, another one of the amazing amateur shows that
Yep.
we're so lucky to have in the UK. Um, just and when she became IMMAF champ, she beat Summer Onley, and we know how great she is as well from all the fights we've seen her in. Lucy has had a tough time in the UFC, but she's had some incredible performances over the years. Tell me your thoughts on this fight.
Yeah, well, so Cecilia Belanda was scheduled to fight someone else, and I've forgotten the name of that opponent. And then that opponent came out, and Lucia Pudilova had heard rumors that she was coming back to Octagon, and that's big. Like, she's got a very big following. I think when the
Huge.
UFC first went to the Czech Republic, to Prague, she was on the card, and by
I was there.
all
It was
accounts, it was
mental.
insane when she walked out. Like, it
Her
felt like
walkout was bigger than anything else in the entire card.
she pretty much sold the arena herself. So that tells you, about the size and scale she is. But Cecilia Bolanda is not a one-trick pony, but she has one trick that she can make happen very quickly. The
Worked for
armbar.
Ronda.
Yeah, word for Ronda. Yeah, well, it's seriously, and she is an evolved version. A lot of people make the likeness because of the judo background, because of the armbar finishes, because of the way she looks. But I think she is. I think she's definitely a more complete fighter at this stage of her career than a Rousey was. I think
Yeah,
this is a tough test because Pudilova is so strong and she
yeah,
is so battle tested, and she's
yeah,
been in dark positions before. But one of the fights that she had in Octagon, De Souza, I think it was, fought her and managed to control her with the grappling. And if anything, Bolanda will have the advantage in, it will be that grappling,
yeah.
that
That's got to
side.
be the game plan.
And
Yeah,
that's got to be the game plan. But it's one hell of a test, and it will be one hell of a return for Pudilova. It's big. Again, you look at this card, top to bottom, the names, the talent, not just from the Czech Republic, but from around the world that they're bringing in to this card, that they've made stars in Octagon. And this one, again, the ladies getting a good bit of shine on this card is fantastic because they both deserve it. Pudilova's fantastic, and I think Cecilia Bolanda, I called some of her fights in IMMAF and she blew me away.
yeah.
Absolutely blew me away. So to see her now in the pro ranks and going up against someone like this, it's I think the numbers will, betting wise, I think they're going to heavily favour Pudilova. But
I would have
if
thought so.
if I was a betting guy, I wouldn't be scared of the odds on the other side as well, because Bolanda can pull that armbar out or finish you in any way.
It's a very, very exciting fight. I'm looking forward to that one. And then finally, I know we've only got a couple of minutes left. Have we got time to talk about the main event?
Nah, I'll see you later. Bye. Of course we have, yeah. Well, let's talk about the Tip Sport Game Changer, because there's two Tip Sport Game Changers
Yes.
semi-finals on this. At the start of the year, 16 of the best lightweights in Europe gathered together as part of this €1 million tournament, basically €1 million pot that's broken down. And if you win it all, you get €300,000 of that cash prize. And we've now left with four. We've got Lozen Keita, who is the featherweight champ, former lightweight champ, taking on Mateusz Legursky, who is the first ever Octagon lightweight champ. He's the guy who also beat Akon Wanless in his last fight,
Yes.
dominated him in Prague. He is a beast. He's only lost once, and Keita's only lost once because he broke his leg throwing a kick. Then you got Paradeiser versus Akon Duque, and Akoidan is he's still a shipyard worker in the Canary Islands. I think he's 42, 41 or 42.
Wow.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's like the Cinderella story of this. He's become like an icon in Gran Canaria, which is where he's based. His business have said he can take the whole time off to train to do this. And every time he's been the underdog, and he will be no bigger underdog than he'll be in this fight when he goes
Yeah.
against Paradeiser, because Paradeiser is the current lightweight champion. He's got wins over like Ivan Buchinger. He's on a 7-fight win streak. He's fighting in the Czech Republic, where he's got a huge fan base as well. And both of these semi-finals are a testament to the competition, because there were great names in this tournament from, Akon Wanlis, Lengal was in it as well. We've had Daniel Torres in the competition, Attila Korkmaz, Agi Sadari, people like that. So legit top lightweights. And now we've got 4. And on Saturday night, 4 will become 2, and we will know who will fight for that 300,000 euros and to be crowned Tip Sport Game Changer winner.
Amazing. Like, Paradeiser's really crept up on me, because he's been fighting for Oktagon for years, hasn't he? Like, years and
He's
years.
only a kid. I'd say he's only a kid. He's only a young man. But he is, and he's one of these that gets better every time. You think, okay, there's still a little bit of a hole in this part of his game, or his decision making in certain positions isn't as, clinical as you look at other people were. But now every time we see him, he gets better and better, and he's started to believe in himself as well. He's training now at Ankos Gym, which is in Poland, which has got the likes of Jon Surd, who go over there. Mukmaradov spends a lot of his camp over there. A lot of the big Polish fighters from KSW also train there. And they talk to me about how good he is. And he's now doing that thing where he's not just being world-class in a training room. He's now putting those performances together in the cage. So a lot of heat between him and Keita. Keita has a win over him. That was back, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. They fought for the title, and Keita took a decision win. Legursky was the last man to beat him Legursky claimed the title when he fought against him as well. So there's history there. But everybody's ignoring this Oktagon Duque as well, and he is the Cinderella story. And if he comes around, this guy who's a part-time fighter, a dock worker, a quiet, humble family guy, if he wipes out all of these, then that in itself will be a movie worth making.
Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing. There's other fights on the card as well that we don't have time to dive into, but the whole card is stacked. Go over to the Oktagon Instagram or social media channels and find the whole card there, because we could literally have talked about the whole thing. But it's this Saturday, Bryan, 21st of September. For anyone who can't get over to the Czech Republic, how can they watch?
Well, they can't. There's no tickets left, Katie. It's gone. If you go, you're wasting your time, you fool.
Anyone who hasn't got a ticket,
Yeah, there you
watch?
go. There you go. So it's 5 o'clock UK time. We'll be live. The YouTube free prelim is first. That will whet your appetite. And then we move to the Zone or Oktagon.tv. So if you've got the Zone subscription, it's part of that. So you can just click on and watch the event live, or go to Oktagon.tv and you can watch it. And watch me screaming loudly beside the cage while this unfolds. But yeah, very excited. Thanks for having me as well. It's been a long time, Kate. I've missed you.
It has been a long time. It's been amazing chatting to you. Anyone who's too skint to get the pay-per-view, there's some amazing fights on the prelims, including Jack Cartwright's on the prelims, right?
Cartwright, I think he'll be further up the card than that. I think that's just as it's written there.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm hoping that he'll be like, maybe he'll be the feature prelim or something. But
Well, tune in and find out.
Yeah,
anyway.
why not? Yeah, I'll be there. All right,
Bryan, thank you so much. Have a great show. It's going to be amazing. I'm very jealous of you getting to be there. Have a great one.
We'll get you at one soon. Take care. Lots of love.
Definitely. Thank you.